Welcome to the Copperfield Electric Podcast. You know, if you buy an ugly throw pillow for your living room, the worst consequence you face is really just a tacky aesthetic.
Right, yeah, you just toss it in the closet and life goes on.
Exactly. But if you miscalculate the outdoor lighting in your backyard, you are actively mixing high voltage electricity with, well, sprinkler systems, pooling rainwater, and just totally unpredictable elements.
Oh, absolutely. It's the one home decor choice that can literally short out your entire house if you aren't careful.
Yeah, it becomes this very literal clash of forces.
What's fascinating here is that outdoor lighting forces us to reconcile our desire for, a beautiful, welcoming aesthetic with the completely uncompromising physical reality of nature.
Mm-hmm.
And if you attempt to bridge those two worlds without the right strategy, you aren't just dealing with an ugly patio.
Yeah.
I mean, you're dealing with a systemic failure that can genuinely compromise the safety of your property.
Okay, so let's unpack this, because today's deep dive is heavily focused on navigating those exact high-stakes waters. We're looking at a really comprehensive guide by Renee Hernandez, and it's titled Choosing Weatherproof Lighting for Outdoor Spaces.
Right, which is an excellent breakdown of the hardware.
It really is. And to ground those design principles in reality, we are pairing it with service details from Copperfield Electric, which is a trusted foundational operation right here in Southern California.
Yeah, local expertise is huge for this.
Definitely. So the mission of our deep dive today is to help you, the listener, completely transform your outdoor spaces. We want to give you the knowledge to do it beautifully, but most importantly, to do it safely.
That core theme, the idea that knowledge is power, is really the thread that ties these two sources together. When you are dealing with electricity outdoors, you're standing squarely at this intersection of aesthetic design, practical durability, and just uncompromising safety.
Right.
You simply cannot afford to sacrifice any of those three pillars.
No, you really can't. I mean, you can buy the most heavy-duty, hurricane-proof light fixture on the market, but if the wire feeding into it is exposed or, the electrical panel inside your garage is totally maxed out, you haven't bought a light. You've basically bought a fire hazard.
Precisely. Which is why the infrastructure piece has to come first. You need a safe foundation before you even think about hanging beautiful lanterns on the porch.
Yeah, and that underlying infrastructure is often this invisible hurdle for homeowners. All the beautifully designed weatherproof fixtures in the world won't matter at all if the wiring behind them is faulty, outdated, or just poorly installed.
And that is exactly where an operation like Copperfield Electric becomes so relevant. Looking at their footprint in the source, this is a family-owned business deeply rooted in the area.
Right. They aren't just a faceless corporation.
Exactly. And they are fully background checked, bonded, insured, and licensed. Their license number is 1094740, which is always good to verify.
Always. And what stands out to me is how they have to navigate the crazy microclimates of their specific service area.
Oh yeah, Southern California is tricky that way.
Right. Because whether you're dealing with the really corrosive, salty coastal air in Newport Beach or Huntington Beach.
Which will eat right through cheap metal.
Oh, instantly. Or, you're further inland managing the dry, intense heat in Irvine, Anaheim, Santa Ana, Mission Viejo.
Tustin, Orange.
Yeah, Fullerton, Costa Mesa. They basically blanket Orange County with this very specialized local expertise.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's vital to understand why an everyday homeowner needs to be familiar with a comprehensive team like this. Copperfield Electric handles residential electrical repair and new construction wiring, sure, but their work with electrical panel replacement and upgrades is really the linchpin for outdoor projects.
Because modern homes are just incredibly power-hungry now.
They are.
But wait, let me play devil's advocate for a second. If someone is just, adding a few landscape lights along their walkway, why would that trigger a whole panel upgrade?
Well, because it's rarely just a few lights anymore, is it?
Fair point.
Homeowners are adding robust, interconnected outdoor lighting systems. And simultaneously, this is a big one, they are often having residential EV chargers installed in their driveways.
Oh, right. And that's actually one of Copperfield's key services mentioned in the text.
Exactly. So an older, say, 100-amp electrical panel simply might not have the capacity to handle that continuous heavy draw. The team steps in to handle those complex panel upgrades, troubleshoot the hidden issues, and they back it all up with a 100% satisfaction guarantee.
Wow. So they really do the heavy lifting so your home is safe from the inside out.
They really do.
Okay, I get the safety aspect of having the panel upgraded, but I do want to push back on one of their specific offerings.
Okay, let's hear it.
They really emphasize being a 204/7 emergency electrician. And I'm sitting here thinking, do I really need an emergency electrician saved in my phone just because I want to upgrade my backyard lights?
It sounds a bit extreme, right?
Yeah. Like, if I mess up a wire on my patio, a tripped breaker is just a flip switch in the garage. Why does that require a 2 a.m. emergency call?
That's a great question. But that assumes the breaker tripping is the end of the event, rather than just a symptom of an ongoing hazard.
Okay, I'm listening.
This raises an important point about how we treat electrical work. Let's say water bridges a connection in an improperly sealed outdoor junction box, perhaps when you tried to, wire yourself on a Saturday afternoon.
Right, a little DIY weekend project gone wrong.
Exactly. That water creates a continuous ground fault or a short circuit.
Ah, so you go out to the garage, flip the breaker back on, and it just instantly trips again.
Or worse, it actually begins to arc.
Yikes.
Yeah. Water changes the resistance of the circuit. You could easily have a situation where the current is high enough to overheat the wires and start melting the insulation back inside the walls of your house.
Wait, inside the walls?
Yes, but the current might not be quite high enough to reliably trip an older breaker. So suddenly you lose power to your refrigerator, or worse, your home medical equipment, and you have a live, wet wire sitting out in your yard.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay, I see it now.
That is absolutely a hazard that requires immediate after-hours troubleshooting. Having a 247 team like Copperfield Electric means you have a lifeline when those really unpredictable cascading failures happen.
That makes total sense. The danger isn't just the light bulb going out, it's the ripple effect through the entire house.
Precisely.
So assuming your electrical panel is upgraded, the wiring is professionally handled by a local expert, and your home is fully secure. Now we transition from the panel out into the yard itself.
Right, which is where Rene Hernandez's guide to battling the elements becomes totally essential.
Yes. Hernandez highlights this really critical distinction when you're shopping for fixtures that basically dictates the entire lifespan of your installation. It is a vocabulary lesson that could easily save you hundreds of dollars.
And a lot of frustration.
Yes. Definitely. It's understanding the difference between weather-resistant and weatherproof. Let me just break down the definitions from the source, because the marketing on these boxes at the hardware store can be incredibly deceptive.
Oh, they definitely try to trick you.
They do. So weather-resistant means the fixture can handle light exposure to moisture. Think of a bit of dampness or, some light morning dew.
Just surface level stuff.
Right. But weatherproof means the fixture is structurally built to withstand harsh conditions, like actual water jets and heavy storms.
That's a massive difference.
It really is. The way I look at it, weather-resistant is like wearing a light windbreaker in a drizzle, but weatherproof is the heavy-duty raincoat you need when a literal hurricane hits.
I love that comparison.
Thanks, because you really do not want your patio lights wearing a windbreaker during a sudden Southern California downpour.
No, you don't. And that analogy perfectly captures the material science at play here, too. When Hernandez talks about weatherproof fixtures, the focus is heavily on the materials themselves, specifically highlighting stainless steel or powder-coated finishes.
And I notice Hernandez zeroes in on those specific finishes over just standard paint, which makes total sense mechanically when you think about it.
How so?
Well, if you just use standard liquid paint on an outdoor fixture, the constant moisture and that intense UV exposure we get is going to cause micro-cracking.
Oh, definitely.
And once it cracks, it just lets the rust right in.
Precisely. Unlike traditional liquid paint that merely sits on the surface of the metal, powder coating is totally different. It involves electrostatically charging a dry powder so it bonds molecularly to the fixture itself.
Wow, molecularly. That sounds intense.
It is. And then it is cured under intense heat. That mechanism creates a rigid, continuous shell. It doesn't just flake off when a rogue pebble from a lawnmower hits it, and it doesn't expand and crack during extreme temperature swings.
So it provides lasting structural protection against corrosion.
Exactly. Which actually brings up a really common shortcut trap that Hernandez warns about.
Oh, the indoor-outdoor trap?
Yes. It's so tempting to try and cheat the system. You see a gorgeous indoor sconce on sale, you have this deep patio overhang, and you think, hey, it won't get directly rained on. It's totally fine.
Right, you think you're being clever.
But Hernandez makes it very clear that ambient humidity alone is enough to corrode indoor wiring.
Because indoor fixtures lack the specific engineering required for the outdoors.
Exactly. They don't have the silicone gaskets, the properly sealed channels, or the tempered glass needed to block that ambient moisture from reaching the conductive metals inside.
So the moisture from the air just condenses inside the housing.
And then it drips down onto the hot bulb or the bare wire, and you are right back to the emergency short circuit hazard we discussed earlier.
Which means a 2 a.m. phone call.
Exactly. You must always verify that a fixture is explicitly rated for outdoor use.
Okay, so our foundation is secure, and our fixtures are wearing their heavy-duty raincoats. They are officially weatherproof, made of durable stainless steel or powder-coated metal.
We are in good shape so far.
We are. But durability is only half the battle, you know? Good lighting design is about painting with shadows just as much as light. If you just blast your yard with massive floodlights, it's going to look like a high-security prison.
Nobody wants that for their backyard.
Nobody. Hernandez gives us a really clear, functional map to avoid this, building what we can call a lighting topography.
Yes, you are transitioning from the engineering of the light to the actual art of the light. It's not a free-for-all. Each layer serves a very specific purpose.
Right. First up, you have path lights. These are low to the ground, placed strategically along walkways, and their primary function is safety.
Just guiding movement so you don't trip in the dark.
Exactly. Then you step up a level to post lighting, which adds vertical structure. You use these for driveways and entrances to give a really clear boundary and a welcoming glow as you pull up to the house.
And then beyond those functional boundaries, you introduce landscape lighting.
Yes, landscape lighting is where you get to show off a little bit. This highlights your trees, your plants, the architectural features of the home itself. It's pure curb appeal.
It really makes a house pop at night.
It does. And finally, you have the lantern styles for the porches. They add a classic, timeless touch to the seating areas. But here's where it gets really interesting to me. It's not just about the shape of the lamp housing, it's about the actual science of the light coming out of it. We have to talk about color temperature.
Oh, absolutely. Color temperature is arguably the most powerful tool you have for setting the psychological tone of a space.
Right, and it's measured in Kelvin, right?
Yes, measured in Kelvin. And the biological impact it has on us is profound. Hernandez emphasizes that warm tones, which sit lower on the Kelvin scale, somewhere around 2700 K, create a really cozy, inviting ambiance.
Which ties perfectly into human evolution. That warm golden glow basically mimics firelight or a sunset.
Exactly.
It biologically triggers our brains to just relax and wind down. So you absolutely want to use warm white lighting around your patios and your seating areas, basically. Places where you want people to linger, converse, and just feel comfortable.
But, and this is a big but, you definitely don't want that soft, sleepy glow everywhere.
Oh, definitely not.
For pathways, driveways, and the overall perimeter of your property, you really want to utilize cooler tones, moving closer to 4000 K or even 5000 K.
Because cooler blue light mimics daylight.
Right. It improves visibility by creating much sharper contrast, which is totally essential for security zones. It triggers alertness, allowing you to see obstacles clearly, and it acts as a much more effective deterrent.
So it's all about matching the psychology of the color to the specific function of the space. Warm for comfort, cool for safety and alertness.
Exactly.
But of course, there are pitfalls. The source points out some major aesthetic mistakes people make when trying to execute this topography. The first one is poor placement, specifically creating what they call a runway effect.
Yes, the runway effect. If you place your path lights too uniformly and too close together, you over-illuminate the path and essentially ruin your own night vision.
It looks like an airport landing strip.
It does. And conversely, if you place them too far apart, you create these intense pools of light separated by deep, uneven shadows. The human eye actually struggles to adjust rapidly between extreme bright and extreme dark.
Oh, which actually makes it harder to see the ground.
Exactly. You want intentional spacing that gently draws the eye forward without blinding you.
Got it.
Yeah.
And the second big mistake is what Hernandez calls ignoring color temperature, which basically means randomly mixing those warm and cool tones without any sort of plan.
Which is a nightmare visually.
It really is. If you put a cozy, warm patio bulb right next to a stark, cool security bulb, it looks like a mistake. It completely shatters the aesthetic cohesion. The whole design just feels chaotic and unintentional.
Yeah, it creates visual confusion. A cohesive design requires strict discipline regarding where your warm zones end and your cool zones begin.
So let's recap where we are. We have our rugged, weatherproof fixtures. We've painted our yard with the perfect topography of warm and cool lights, perfectly balancing the shadows and the highlights. It looks like a high-end resort.
Sounds incredible.
But now, how do you make this entire system run effortlessly? Maybe more importantly, affordably. Because historically, running a yard full of lights every single night would just make your electric meter spin out of control.
Well, this is where we look toward the future of the yard, focusing heavily on smart features and sustainability.
Right.
The technological leaps in this specific area have completely changed the calculus of outdoor lighting.
I was totally geeking out over this section of Hernandez's guide. The modern convenience of smart lights is just incredible. We aren't just talking about a clunky mechanical timer dial out in the garage anymore.
Oh, definitely not.
We are talking about controlling the exact brightness, setting precise daily schedules that automatically adapt to the sunset, and even changing the colors of your lights right from an app on your phone.
And integrating motion sensors, too, which represent a massive leap in both convenience and security.
Exactly. Motion sensors that instantly turn lights on the moment someone enters a space.
Yeah.
You walk out the back door with like a heavy tray of food for the grill, and the patio lights just wake up for you automatically. It's like magic.
It feels like it.
Yeah.
But if we connect this back to the bigger picture, it's not just about the convenience of not having to flip a switch. It's about extreme energy efficiency.
Right, which is huge.
Hernandez's focus on sustainability ties perfectly back into Copperfield Electric's emphasis on modern, efficient installations. Copperfield actually notes that LED lighting has become the definitive top lighting choice for home and business owners across the U.S.
And the mechanism behind why LEDs are so efficient is actually fascinating, because incandescent bulbs waste something like 90% of their energy just generating heat instead of light.
Yes, they are essentially tiny little heaters that just happen to glow.
Exactly. But LEDs use electroluminescence.
That is the key difference. By passing an electrical current through a semiconductor to emit photons directly, LEDs completely bypass the need to generate extreme heat.
So your money goes strictly toward lighting your yard, not heating the outdoor air.
Precisely. They draw a fraction of the power and have a remarkably long operational life.
And if you want to take your efficiency even further off the grid, Hernandez brings up solar-powered options.
Those are fantastic.
They really are, especially for areas of the yard that are hard to reach because they require minimal wiring. They just sit there, soaking up the daytime sunlight, charging their internal batteries, and then they automatically illuminate your outdoor space at night.
So what does this all mean for you as a homeowner?
Well, it adds up quickly.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
Combining these elements, smart controls that only turn on when needed, motion sensors that eliminate wasted hours of illumination, the physical efficiency of LEDs, and the localized energy generation of solar power. It drastically reduces your electricity bill.
Oh, absolutely.
It also significantly lowers your maintenance costs, since you aren't constantly replacing burned-out bulbs or dealing with heat-damaged fixtures.
It really is the ultimate win-win scenario. Your yard isn't just beautifully lit and perfectly safe. It's a highly optimized, eco-friendly system that basically runs itself. You get the gorgeous topography, and you aren't wincing every time you open your utility bill.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It allows you to enjoy the space exactly as intended without the underlying anxiety of operational costs or safety hazards.
So let's take a step back and look at the whole journey we've been on today in this deep dive. We started by recognizing that you can't just slap an indoor light bulb onto your exterior siding and call it a day.
Definitely not.
The foundation is everything. You have to rely on trusted local professionals like the comprehensive team at Copperfield Electric to ensure your electrical panel can actually handle the modern load. And, to guarantee that your wiring is safe, up to code, and protected from the elements.
Then you protect that foundational investment by choosing the right hardware, based on Rene Hernandez's guidance. You look for explicitly weatherproof fixtures utilizing molecularly bonded powder coating or stainless steel, ensuring they won't just rust or short out the moment the weather turns hostile.
From there, you become the designer. You build a topography of path lights, post lights, and landscape features. You utilize the biological effects of color temperature, perfectly balancing the warm, relaxing tones for your cozy patios with the cool, alert tones for your secure pathways, and deliberately avoiding the runway effect and chaotic color mixing.
And finally, you bring that entire design into the modern age by upgrading to smart controls, LED-powered electroluminescence, and solar systems that preserve your budget and minimize your environmental footprint.
It is a highly intentional, comprehensive approach to mastering your outdoor environment.
It really is.
But before we wrap up, I know you usually have a final thought for us to mull over. What's on your mind today?
Well, we spent this entire deep dive talking about how to perfectly illuminate your outdoor spaces, how to engineer our homes to push back the dark effectively and beautifully.
Right.
But as you install these incredibly efficient, bright, smart sensing lights, it raises an important question about the natural world that surrounds our properties.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
How do our perfectly lit, sensor-activated backyards change the nocturnal habits of local wildlife?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. From migratory birds to local insect populations, their biological rhythms are entirely dependent on the dark. Moving forward, how might we balance our completely understandable desire for an illuminated, secure home with the necessity and, frankly, the beauty of a natural dark night sky?
Wow. That is a really profound tension to think about. We engineer all this incredible technology to conquer the dark, but we probably need to remember to respect the dark, too.
It's all about finding that intentional balance.
It really is. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. You now have the knowledge and the understanding of the local resources available to you to transform your outdoor spaces confidently, efficiently, and most importantly, safely. So the next time you decide to redecorate, remember, inside the house is just a throw pillow. But outside, well, now you're armed and ready to brave the elements. Until next time.